style and be themselves. But that doesn't work, and the copycats immediately post their own version of what happened.
What?
As a last-ditch effort, the Watersons put their own lives at risk, doing the most dangerous stunts, hoping they kill off their copycats. However, that doesn't work, so they take it to the next level and get on a burning truck that's going towards an unfinished bridge. At first, it seems like they're completely screwed, but Anais uses her big brain and thinks of disconnecting the tank from the truck, helping them, well, not die. But without an Anais of their own, the copycats fall to their demise, being the end of the copycats. After the well, not die. But without an Anais of their own, the copycats fall to their demise, being the end of the copycats. After the episode aired, Miracle Star received tons of backlash, having a long-time rating on IMDb, leading to its cancellation in 2017. The Star received 2009, there was a show called which follows the main character, who's also called Pinky Blanky, who's just trying to fit into a human world. That's pretty much it. His two best friends.
It don't look that bad. I might watch this. It kind of reminds me of Gumball. Nah, I'm playing. Nah, but Purple, I like the animation so far.
Pretty much it. His two best friends, JJ and Magnus, who are always by his side. At first glance, it's pretty easy to notice that the animation style is quite similar to the Amazing World of Gumball. And there's actually a reason for that. The show's creator, Christopher Millard, worked as a storyboard artist on Gumball in Season 1 and a writer for Season 2. And you can tell this by looking at the very first episode of Pinky Malinky called Snacks, which starts in the food market part, where Pinky explains how important the snack Poppins is to the town of Snackenham, and how much it impacted his life. But soon, his friends discover that Poppins are being discontinued, which causes chaos throughout the city. When Pinky hears the news, he inflates like a balloon and bursts into the air. Immediately, it's clear that Pinky doesn't have the same physical limitations as his human friends. His body is extremely stretchy and aggressive, used for tons of visual gags. He can stretch incredibly far, shrink in size, and basically do things that no human could, which is very similar to the exaggerated movements of many Gumball characters. That said, these wacky stretch gags aren't special to Gumball. Plenty of animated shows like SpongeBob, Animatics, Tom and Jerry, and so much more use a similar format, where the main character can do a bunch of movements and stuff that can't be replicated in reality TV shows. Also, in a 2009 pilot of Pinky Malinky, Pinky has always been a character who can transform and do a lot of things with his body. All before Gumball was even a thing, because Gumball was created in 2011, which means that Pinky Malinky was never intended as a copy of Gumball. But because of the timing, Pinky was seen.
I know y'all heard that sound. This is why people say cartoons weren't made for kids. Why was that sound happening and he making this goddamn face? That's that shit we be talking about, Cartoon Network. This is on Netflix, but this that shit we be talking about.
But because of the timing, Pinky was seen as a ripoff. But the similarities don't seem there. One of the standout traits is its used mixed animation styles.
I'm Kevin Hart.
I'm Kevin Hart.
I'm Kevin Hart. I love acting, but my true calling is playing a new puzzle game, Royal Kingdom. That's why I started Kevin Hart Studios, acting like Kevin Hart. Stay on side. So more people actually take my roles, and I can play more Royal Kingdom. There's no ads. And you don't be qualified. Well, that's what I'm telling you. There's a lot of progress to get in my Royal Kingdom title. And I think you're right. So my name is Kevin Hart. I'm finally living my dream.
Our family history results are in. My great-great-grandfather came through Ellis Island.
Mine too. Timothy Overston
the third. Oof.
Now the doctor related to your spouse. There's an edible for that. Fruit is just the beginning. Get all kinds of deliciousness delivered in an hour or less at edible.com. See website for details and restrictions.
3D to puppets to live action characters, you name it, you've done it. Which is what makes Gumball so unique. Pinky Malinky, while sticking to mostly basic character designs, isn't afraid to experiment with different animation styles. For example, in the beginning of the episode, there's a little gag moment where Pinky Malinky and JJ turn into real-life versions of themselves. drop that with JJ turning into a real version of himself. However, you can say that Christopher Miller didn't try to copy Gumball, but he instead took inspiration and learned from his experience and time working with the show. We'll defend it here, however, one of the characters from Pinky Blinky seems to be an exact copy of another character who amazingly Gumball. Character being Babs. This is
Divided.
She's basically
Darwin is black. That's confirmation, y'all. Darwin is definitely black.
She's basically human and girl. They both wear green and orange. They're nice, supportive, and serve as a friend for the main character. It's possible that just something is a reference to Christopher Miller's previous work, or something fans could point out and laugh. But she's a major support character while she was in the content herself. Similar not only in design but also in personality traits, it stops feeling like a
They even have the same head. I can literally see it. They even have the same head, y'all. It's not even a reach no more, bro. That's definitely his reference.
And when a character is similar not only in design but also in personality traits, it stops feeling like a funny cameo and starts feeling more like they took Darwin, changed his gender, and called it a day. So
They took Darwin, changed his gender, and made him a fish. That is definitely Darwin. I don't care what nobody has to say.
personality traits, it stops feeling like a funny cameo and starts feeling more like they took Darwin, changed his gender, and called it a day. So, is Pinky Malinky a ripoff of Gumball? Well, I don't think so. Despite its many similarities, of course, there are going to be parallels in animation, plot, and character dynamics. Was one of Gumball a ripoff of Gumball? Well, I don't think so. Despite its many similarities, of course, there are going to be parallels in animation, plot, and character dynamics when one of Gumball's original creatives is behind the show. But that doesn't necessarily mean why. It's okay to receive inspiration as long as you bring something new to the table.
Yep.
Take Rebecca. For example, before creating Steven Universe, she was one of the main writers and storyboard artists for Adventure Time, another really popular show.
Damn.
But instead of copying Adventure Time's characters, plot, and animation style, she used what she learned from the experience and built something original. That's why Steven Universe became such a success.
So
It had lovable characters, an interesting story, and different animation. There's a difference between being inspired by something and copying it. Try something new and find your own things to do. And that's going to be important for this next show we're going to talk about. Just about to answer the last question, what happened? Well, Blinky was canceled. And there's no official news that the show was canceled. The show was completed for years, but it didn't release until 2019. With all that time the show was finished, the people behind it probably moved on. Not only that,
I don't think it would have done that well. I'm not even trying to be a hater, and I know I've been writing Gumball the whole time, but why would you watch this show if you already have Pink Dog? Like, it makes sense. You already have Gumball. Why would you watch this? Y'all might be mad about how much I'm going hard for Gumball, but all these shows that copy Gumball, none of these shows are better than Gumball.
Why do you want to play Fortnite?
Don't ask.
What?
I said don't ask.
Let me see your screen.
Why?
What?
Why?
Let me see, right?
Okay.
In my guest screen. Jada.
Yes.
Jada. I said, let me call you at that. Let me call you at that, right? Funny.
Well, watch Gumball.
not only that, but when the show was first announced, it immediately got backlash for supposedly being a knockoff of Gumball, which put the final name.
You must know something. I do believe that Jesus is most likely the Messiah. Then why are you doing this? I suppose I must.
What are you doing in these things?
My own. You have a problem. Jesus operates entirely outside of jurisdiction. Pharisees, don't listen to us. The world is changing when Jesus offers a vision to the people. He's just like alliance is over. There's talks about collaboration so brothers. These next few weeks. How do you escape being condemned to hell?
What I thought.
With my UC, symptoms like bowel urgency have always weighed on me. How far? What if I have to go now? Should I stay back? I wanted to move onward, so I asked my doctor about OMBO. Less UC symptoms means less holding me back. Rapid symptom relief. Lasting remission. No to minimal bowel urgency in some people taking OMBO. Don't use if allergic to OMBO. Serious allergic reactions can occur. OMBO may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Before treatment, your doctor will screen for tuberculosis. OMBO may cause liver problems. Tell your doctor if you've had a vaccine or plan to. Ask your doctor to learn more. Less disruptive symptoms. Less holding you back.
Talking about Netflix, the platform that hosts the show, they are notorious for canceling less popular shows. They're running into shows that seem more successful. And another lesser-known show that has also been accused of copying Gumball is Elliot from Earth. Elliot from Earth follows a boy and his mom who are transported across the universe, landing in a strange world filled with aliens. Far from Earth.
Don't they have a movie like this? A Disney movie coming out called Elliot or something? Am I tripping? I don't know why, but when I heard that, I automatically thought about this movie right here.
Landing in a strange world filled with aliens. Far from their home planet, which is Earth, they try to find out who brought them here and why. They start building a new life on this planet and eventually meet some characters, including Mo, the talking dinosaur. Unlike other shows,
The dinosaur is green and orange. It's and Gumball. The show is so loaded that every show has to Gumball. Green and orange sidekick. Come on, bro. Who else is doing it like that?
unlike other shows that mentioned exactly what the stand out to be considered Gumball. One of the first things you probably notice while watching Elliot from Earth is how much the animation reminds from Gumball. Both shows have those moments where the animation really goes all out. Detailed, almost cinematic shots you'd never expect in a cartoon. The Shining, it really shows how much effort went into both shows. So why do they look so similar? Well, it's not just a coincidence. They were actually made by the same UK-based branch of Cartoon Network Studios. The shared production team explains a lot, from fluid character animation to the detailed backgrounds. You can totally see some shows. Not only that, but Sarah Bell, one of the producers on Gumball, actually stepped up as a creative director for Elliot the Bird, which is probably why both shows have a similar vibe, the same humor, and really identical animation. Can be explained by them being produced by the same team that produced Gumball. There's a character that also seems very closely similar to Darwin, which is very similar to the previous situation with the lady. For starters, both have positive and curious outlooks on life. Always try to do the right thing and make others feel happy and included. Both characters are incredibly loyal friends. Darwin is always by Gumball's side no matter how wild things get, and Mo forms a strong bond with Elliot, sticking with him through every adventure. But that makes sense for a character who's supposed to support the main character. However, there's more. They're also both highly adaptable. Darwin goes from a pet fish to a walking fish who has implemented himself in the Watterson family, and Mo, who was originally a dinosaur walking his own parts, adapted the Rockets to Rockets. And they use glasses for his weak eyesight. They both become obscene and jokes. Each other really large colors. So is Elliot the result of Gumball? No. Children share subsurface level similarities. Elliot seems to be moving scenes where everything's going to be cartoon. Procrastinating, storytelling, helping people you need very promising. Unfortunately, though, the show was quietly canceled after only 16 episodes. Dang, now we're officially canceled. Enough time has passed since the first season of the finale to see a return for a second season. And it seems that there's a cliffhanger in the last episode, which makes things even worse for big fans of the show.
Was it good?
Not only that, but the show's creator and showrunner, Guillaume Cassoda, parted ways with Cartoon Network